Hey, this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, what are you doing? Go check it out here right now. This is your official spoiler warning to go and check it out. However, if you have seen part 1, enjoy the rest of this video. After the dust settles, we see the man who just destroyed the robot, and Gunter thinks to himself that that's him. He must be the man in red. Furious, Gunter begins charging at the man. As he does so, the man welcomes it, saying that now he doesn't have to wait till tomorrow for his fight against the woodpecker. Using 2 small ring blades on his thumbs, he tears open his arms, attacking Gunter. As Gunter recoils from the attack, the man states that this is his branch of sin, Crowclaw. Gunter then grabs a pipe and charges at the man, who easily dodges the attack. As Gunter goes for a second pass by, the pipe he is holding gets diced into pieces. Gunter falls to his knees, losing hope. Confused, the man approaches Gunter, asking him if he's got it wrong or if he's the woodpecker, the psycho who's slaughtered his classmates. Then asking him if he's going to use his branch of sin or not. Gunter then thinks to himself and realizes that all the other times his powers activated, he was bleeding in some way. Gunter then clenches his hand, causing his blood to start flowing out. Just as the man walks away, Gunter tells him to stop. Claiming revenge for all of his friends that were killed by the man in red, Gunter shoots his projectile, which is barely blocked by the man using his blood blades before it breaks through, hitting the man dead center in his chest, which he does manage to withstand, receiving only a small bruise. Pleased that Gunter actually has some ability, the man tells him he knows nothing about this man in red or what revenge has to do with anything they're doing here. Gunter then thinks back and realizes that the man before him isn't the man in red, telling him that it doesn't make any sense as the powers he has look so much like the man in red's. The man then explains that his name is Senji and he goes by Crow, then saying that there is more than a few people who can use the branch of sin, turning their blood into weapons. Now wanting a real fight, Senji then charges at Gunter, and Shiro once again comes in clutch, knocking Senji to the ground and telling him to lay off Gunter. And Senji, who has a weakness to girls in skin-tight bodysuits, relents. I mean fair. Just then, Gunter and Senji get knocked out by tranquilizers. We then cut to the main HQ, with Makina being told that there is no trace of the prisoners or the robot at all. Angry, she goes off to talk with the one really in charge, the chief director, about what the hell is going on around here. Meanwhile, we see Gunter, tied down onto some kind of examination table. He struggles against the bindings when a familiar face approaches him, the lawyer who got him in here in the first place, who reveals how he rigged the jury's verdict against him to get him sent into Deadman Wonderland. He then informs Gunter that tomorrow he'll be participating in the event known as the Carnival Corps, which will be a fight to the death up against Senji. Tamaki then leaves, telling Gunter that if he does well in the event tomorrow, he'll be able to meet the man in red, or as he refers to him as, the Wretched Egg. Elsewhere, as Makina tries to make her way to the chief director's office, she is stopped by the twins Chan and En, being told that she must have properly arranged a meeting beforehand. She says she won't be long and starts to make her way in, but they say no really, arrange a meeting. Seeing no other option, she walks away. The next day, we then arrive at the main event, with Gunter being thrust headfirst into the Carnival Corps. As they both get ready for the fight, Senji gives some inspiring words for Gunter.
As soon as that buzzer goes off, I'm gonna fuck you up, man. Little kid or not.
The buzzer goes off, and Gunter immediately runs away, getting up to a high vantage point, where he manages to get his blood projectile working and begins letting off shot after shot at Senji, who pretty easily manages to slice the projectiles as they come at him. Gunter then makes a big projectile, which after slicing in half, Senji admits that that one didn't suck. Gunter then begins feeling dizzy and cold, when the reality of what he's been doing surfaces. He has been shooting his blood at Senji, a lot of his blood, which is kinda necessary for, being alive. And so Gunter starts to develop anemia. As he braces himself near the side of the tree, it suddenly all begins to crumble, and we see that Senji isn't quite as close range as you would initially think. After suffering numerous wounds by Senji and lying in a pool of his own blood, Gunter recalls memories of Shiro in his childhood, seemingly forgotten until now. And as Senji begins to walk away, we cut to Shiro talking with Yo, also remembering their childhood, when she tells Yo that the amazing thing about Gunter is that he always manages to get back up. And we then see Gunter grabbing onto Senji, pulling himself up, resuming their match. Gunter then shoots a projectile up towards the ceiling which houses the announcer box, and as it falls down, Senji cuts it to pieces. But Gunter used that time as a distraction to get up close to him, shooting his projectile point blank into Senji's chest, knocking him unconscious, declaring Gunter the winner. Afterwards, while Gunter is recovering from the fight, the post-game Too Bad for the Loser show starts. in which we see Senji strapped to a chair when the Deadman Wonderland's doctor Rei Takashima comes in, bringing with her a sort of slot machine. Oh cool, I guess even if you lose in this sort of thing, you still win something. She pulls the lever and it lands on right eye. Okay, I guess he gets some sort of prize to do with his eye or something, right? Wait, what are you doing?
Oh god, it's nothing like that at all.
Ganta watches in horror as Senji is forced to have his right eye removed due to him losing. Meanwhile, we see Yo and Shiro getting approached by a man who is looking for Yo, who tells him that he's tracked down the person he was looking for. Shiro and Yo then make their way outside, and Yo comes up with a plan to try and get them back into G-Block. Shiro makes her way up a guard tower and begins causing a ruckus, acting as a distraction, while Yo, after putting this guy to sleep forever, radios through that an armed uprising is going on and they need to shut down the electricity to the area. They ask who it is that's attacking, and Yo gives the description of Shiro, selling her out completely. As the power shuts down to that section, we see Shiro saying that the lullaby has stopped and is not looking quite as cheerful as she usually does. The armed guards then arrive. Down below we see Yo making his way through a grate, thanking Shiro for being the perfect distraction, when a tornado suddenly breaks out on the guard tower, with limbs and body parts scattering across the area, and he sees that the sweet little Shiro has an incredibly destructive branch of sin. She then falls unconscious and is picked up by Chan and En. Yo then decides it would be best to make his way out of there as quick as he can. Elsewhere, as Gunther is lying on his bed reflecting on how everything just keeps getting worse, he hears a commotion outside, and he saves a girl by giving this big dude some food, when he initially wanted to eat the girl's flowers. The food isn't enough though, and he still wants more, and they escape into the girl's cell, where they get to know a bit about each other, and she reveals that she was abused by her father, and one day during an especially brutal beating, she blacked out, and when she came to, her powers had seemingly activated for the first time, and she had killed her father. She then explains that her older brother could never really accept that she was the one responsible, and we find out her older brother is Yo. After a wardrobe malfunction, Ganta, inspired with the power of 1,000 simps, wants to help her escape. As they make their way through the corridor, Minatsuki trips and pipes begin to fall from the ceiling onto her. Ganta saves her, but in the process suffers from a wound on his leg. The guards then find them in the halls, revealing to Ganta that the Carnival Corps fight planned for tomorrow is between the both of them. The next day, the battle in the Carnival Corps between them begins. And while Ganta wants to do this whole "I won't attack you no matter what" sort of thing, Minatsuki's entire personality has changed completely, attacking him right off the bat with her whip-like branch of sin. She reveals to him her completely sadistic side, and that she had manipulated him into taking an injury prior to the match. Just as Ganta begins to fight back, Yo suddenly appears, and is shocked that his little sister is one of these dead men, who are those that can use the branch of sin. He tells her that he's got a plan to gain enough cast points in order to buy her freedom. He then gets let into the arena. Just as Ganta is about to continue fighting against her, Yo steps in front, protecting her, causing Ganta to stop. Minatsuki then tries to manipulate Yo against Ganta, but he turns on her instead, revealing that he had learned the truth, that she was the one who killed their father, and he never really did anything to her in the first place. She then grabs Yo, using him as a human shield against Ganta, revealing that the reason why she is this way is mainly because when she was a child, and the Red Hole incident occurred in Tokyo, which was an incredibly massive earthquake, she was trapped underneath the table, and her mother, instead of saving her daughter, actually saved a pot of flowers. Yeah, the trauma is much more understandable now. Ganta then manages to shoot off one of her whips, freeing Yo, before running in, knocking her out with a headbutt, winning the match. After the fight, Ganta and Yo go to look for medicine for their wounds, as a strange earthquake that rocked the prison has all of the staff preoccupied. Yo then begins to ask Ganta questions about Shiro, and Ganta explains that he had only recently started remembering, but they used to be childhood friends a long time ago, saying that he wants to see her again. And Yo doesn't quite have the heart to tell him about what he saw earlier. Sometime later, Yo goes to recover some cast points that were stolen from him by a guard when he was first being escorted away from G-Block, when he finds Tamaki, who reveals to him that cast points can't be used to reduce a sentence down here in G-Block, completely nullifying his plan of saving his sister. Furious at this, Yo charges at Tamaki, when he is attacked by self-proclaimed ubermonk Azuma Gengaku, and pretty severely damaged. Meanwhile, Ganta is racing around trying to find Yo, when he gets a pretty full-on introduction to Karako Koshio and her fists. After being taken back to this little hideout, he is then introduced to Nagi Kengamin. Karako and Nagi are members of the Deadman prison gang known as the Scar Chain, who are wanting to destroy the corrupt and immoral Deadman Wonderland from inside. Just then, the TV turns on just as Minatsuki is about to go through her penalty game, and the prize she wins is actually pretty good, only losing her hair. We learn from Nagi that he had arranged it so that would be the result, as a testament of good faith for Ganta in hopes that he will join them. Just then, the same guy that messed up Yo earlier comes into the room, throwing Yo onto the floor and begins to attack Ganta and the others. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It only takes a second and it really helps me out.